Alright, so just wanted to do a little update on the Mustang, let you know where I'm at with it. Been waiting on a bunch of stuff with the engine. Engine's been up at Nickens Racing. Took the block up there a while back, and really waited a long time for my pistons, but they got everything, so should get the motor back. I'm going to shoot another video putting the engine together. They're just assembling my short block. I had them put sleeves in it, and they're gonna do the short block rotating assembly, basically get it all balanced and whatnot. But I've been working on the car a little bit here and there. I did take out the stock tank, and I'm going to put a fuel cell in it, so I got that all installed. Some 1-inch square tubing, should work all right. Just a little cheapy fuel cell for now. Got to put the fuel pump still in it. Working on all that, and also, since I had the motor out, wanted to clean up some of the wiring. So I pulled out some of the original body harness for some stuff that really wasn't being used anymore, and working on cleaning up the brake system as well. There's some brake lines I didn't really like how it was routed, because when I did the brake lines on this, the motor was in. It was a pain in the ass to try to get everything routed properly. Not much room by the cylinder, the cylinder head and the master cylinder. So since the motor's out, I'm gonna take the time and make it look clean. Other than that, I mean, nothing on the inside. Current project I just actually wrapped up. I'm gonna have some more video on that, but upgraded my valve springs in the cylinder heads to stage 2 pack valve spring. Didn't want to go stage 3 because would have to lock out my VCTs, lock out the cams, and I think I still want to take advantage of some of the VCT variable cam timing. But take you through some videos of the swapping out the springs, in case anyone's curious about how to swap out springs. It's pretty straightforward, so continue watching. Alright, so to do the valve spring upgrade on this Coyote, picked up this install kit off Amazon. It was like $40. Pretty good deal. I've actually already used it and worked really good. So there's the part number in case anyone is trying to do the same thing. But it comes with everything you need, all the bolts, all the hardware to hold it down. Even they include a screwdriver with magnetic end to get the little keepers out and to install them. But definitely highly recommend it. Worked really good and just cheap, so didn't break the bank. And so I'll take you through a video of how to swap out the valve springs, and it was pretty easy. Okay, you're going to start by taking off the cam caps. 2 bolts each cam cap. Make sure you put them in a location. Remember how they go on, and that way they go on in the same way that they came off. Once you get those removed, take out the lifter rocker assembly. Also set those to where they go back in the same holes. You always like to have a match set going back in, especially for the cam caps, because those are all line bored. Once you get all the cam caps off and the lifters and rockers out, you're going to put on the block to start removing the valve springs. 4 bolts goes right in place where the cam caps were. And I just hand tightened them up. You don't need to snug them down real tight. Just make sure they're good and seated. And again, just snugged up hand tight. This is a grease that comes in the kit as well. It's to lubricate the threads as well as the top of the collar where the bolt is going to be spinning on top of it. Just keeps it from marring things up and keeps the threads from getting all chewed up. Go ahead and apply it to all the 4 holes and then onto the collar. Then you're going to slip the collar down into place on top of the valve retainer. You can see where I put a little grease on top where the bolt's going to be spinning in that concave area. So you're going to thread the bolt down that comes in the kit. I put some of that lubricant on the threads as well. Run the bolt down. Run the bolt down until it makes contact with the collar. From here, you're going to want to put something underneath the valve itself, because as you screw that thing down, it's going to want to push the valve open. So I use like a 3/4 inch socket. I'm sure they make other tools for it specifically, not to mess up the valve, but use what you got, wood block or something, rubber mallet. From there, you're going to screw it down further. It's going to unlock the keepers. Reach down with that magnetic tool, that little screwdriver that came with the kit. You can pull the little keepers out. If they don't come out, you may not compress the valve spring far enough, so don't go too far with it. Don't want to break the valve spring. But from here, you're just going to kind of reverse the process. You're going to back out the bolt. Collar is going to come off of the valve spring retainer, and then you can just reach down in there, pull the collar out. And then once you got the collar out of the way, just reach in, pull out the stock valve spring and retainer. Try to wiggle it on out of there. And just kind of reverse the process. Gonna put the new valve spring in. I mean, at this time, some people might replace the seals and guides and stuff. My stuff was fine, so I'm just reusing it. So put the new valve spring in. I'm reusing the same retainers. Some may replace them. I'm just reusing mine. And then put the collar back in place. And then just run the bolt back down. I'm going to compress the spring again. Don't go too far. Just going to compress it down far enough till you see the 3 little ringlands that the retainers slide into. Again, you're going to need to have something on the back side of that valve to hold it in place so it doesn't try to push it out or fall out. But there you can see the little 3 ring grooves. And then I use a little bit of grease on that screwdriver that was included. Just put a little bit on the tip of the screwdriver. That's gonna help to where you can just put the little retainer on and then hold it in place as you slip it down in there. You see it holds it on the screwdriver. Yeah, again, there might be some other type of trick. As you see, I just put that one in backwards, so I got to pull it back out. They're fun to fish down in there, but once you do it a couple times, you get the hang of it. That's where that grease really helps out to kind of hold it in place. Without it, you'll be dropping it everywhere. And just kind of slip it in place, slide it around to where you can have access to put the other retainer down in there. Once you got both retainers in place, you can just back the bolt off. Maybe keep an eye on it. Make sure the retainers are going to stay in place and aren't jumping out of place or jumping out of one of the grooves. Just want to make sure it gets fully seated. As you see, it slips right back in there. Go ahead and run the bolt all the way on out. Pull the collar on out. And that's one valve spring replacement, going from stage 1 to stage 2. Now you just have to do it 31 more times since it's a Coyote. Something small black Chevy guys don't know about. But it's a little time consuming. I did over 2 days. I did this cylinder head on one night and then did the next cylinder head the next night. And it wasn't too bad. So next up for this is, I'm still waiting to get the motor back, get the short block back. I should have it in the next week or two. And then probably do another video of me putting the heads back on, reassembling it, and getting it back in the car, and see if we can't get back out and do some racing this year. So, hope you liked the video, and let me know if you have any questions.